Hi everyone.
Hello.
Okay, so hopefully I think this is going to be the final part for this witness. I mean they do have cross coming up, so I'm wondering if he's gonna be attacking, like far too aggressive.
Oh yeah, most likely.
I mean they've been doing that so far, and it just, to me, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's working. I've said this before, but if I was a jury member and I'd see him attacking, like, you know, seemingly nice, pleasant people, it would just make me go, oh, you're a dick.
Yeah.
But anyway, should we get on with it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
What, if anything, was your understanding about the diagnosis? Sorry, Judge. I
You
corrected.
already asked a different question, so.
What, if any, what was your understanding about the diagnosis that the child came in with?
Pain. And again, these acronyms were new to me. RSD and CRS, or PS, sorry.
Okay. And so from your review here, was it apparent to you that the parents were not of the type to ever abuse their child?
Calls for legal conclusions, legal.
Sustained.
What, is it true you didn't see any signs in there of from the parents that they would be of the type that would over medicate or take advantage of their child in that way?
Same objection, judge, and affirmance.
Sustained.
All right. All right. So it says parents have, we'll continue on with what happened. Tell me what else happened that day.
At that time when I was asked to screen for child abuse and neglect, do a risk assessment.
Yes. And what I,
Hold on a second. The attorney's approach. Please don't answer.
See, I don't know why he's not asking it of. He's clearly they're not getting this question in because the hospital doesn't want it in.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure why he's not asking. In your many years of experience as a social worker, did you observe any signs of abuse whilst Maya was on your time with the patient?
Yeah.
I mean, if she says yes, please list what signs you observed to the best of your recollection, and who.
Yeah.
And who it was. Because outside of that, like, if it's a no, then the hospital has absolutely zero grounds. They put it in for malicious intent.
Yeah.
But that's why they don't want the question in. Because they know there was no signs. They know there was. There was zero signs.
There was another question on earlier video we had that they really thought of not getting in as well.
Well, they've done it quite a few times.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand why this judge stands. Well, like, he could see them, surely.
I think it's been more of a politeness, I think, or also that he wants to tower over them.
Maybe. Anyway.
Did you have the opportunity to call Eagle's Wings?
Yes.
And what is Eagle's Wings?
It was a counseling center that the family informed me that Maya had been where she sought counseling.
So did you follow up on that?
I made a call that Friday, part of the assessment, and no one answered the phone. I don't know if it was because of the hurricane or, just the nature of an organization, but they did call me on Monday. I was no longer covering the case on Monday, and when I got the call, I talked briefly. They affirmed that Amaya had been a client, I believe the family even. And so I informed the case manager on PICU that the Eagles Wing had called. This is her number, and you may want to follow up.
And so in part of the record, it alleges that the Kowalskis refused psychological evaluation. Did you confirm that Maya was having psychological evaluation already?
At that phone call, I'm no longer covering the case.
I understand.
So I passed that over to the Kathy Beatty and the case manager.
All right. So Kathy Beatty was involved by this time?
I hadn't talked with her on Monday. She wasn't there when I arrived when I went into the office.
Who was the case manager?
I believe it was Joyce Shear.
And did you explain to Joyce Shear that you had confirmed, or that they had called back confirming that the Kowalskis had already had Maya through counseling and psychological help?
I informed them that she had been a patient. I didn't know the length of time, or affirmed that she had.
But the fact that she had. So now, to the best of your knowledge, and I don't want to know what you did after it, but to the best of your knowledge, had the team informed you of any diagnosis, medical diagnosis at this point?
All I understood was interference with care.
But that no actual medical diagnosis of what was wrong, whether she had CRPS, didn't have CRPS?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled. You can answer.
Again, in one of my visits with the family, I think it was the first one, they were talking about CRPS, which was unfamiliar with me, but they were talking, the doctor and the family were talking about transferring care to Nemours on the East Coast of Florida, who either specialized in treatment for CRPS or was familiar with the diagnosis. And so that's the only diagnosis at that time that I was aware of.
But you passed all this along to the team member, case manager. Would the case manager be part of the team?
Yes.
All right. And you passed that information along?
Not Friday. I didn't.
Later, did you?
She would have known. She's part of the healthcare team.
Would have been in your notes.
And if she would be, I don't think they are my notes. She would have been, the case manager handles transfers and discharges.
All right. So by this point, and what time of the day are we talking about now?
With what conversation or what activity?
Not on Monday, but the last.
On Friday?
Yes.
And so there were many activities going on from my role on Friday. Which activity are you referencing that you're asking me to identify the time?
At the last time you talked to the Kowalskis.
So I'd assume it must have been around 3 or 4 again.
Okay. And at that time, then, did the hospital know from some source that the Kowalskis believed their daughter had CRPS?
I was in the room earlier when the parents and the physician, I can't identify the physician, talked about CRPS and transfer to Nemours.
All right. And the parents believed that the transfer to Nemours would be for CRPS care.
That
right?
was the discussion
Conclusion, Your Honor.
Sustained.
What if, well, I think it's in the note. Let me check here. Were the parents from what did the parents tell you that they wanted more CRPS care for their child?
Objection, hearsay.
For a statement for medical purposes. Go ahead.
Overruled.
You can answer.
They did not talk to me about that.
All right.
I witnessed that conversation in the room.
All right, so you witnessed the conversation, right? All right. And did they also explain that that there was an attending physician, a Dr. Hannah, that was treating the child already?
Yes.
So at this point, the case manager knew that this was a CRPS case from the parent's point of view. Is that right?
Form leading.
Overruled, she can answer that one.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I didn't have much conversation with the case manager that I recall, so I don't know what she knew and didn't know, but I would assume she would have known that there would have been a discussion about discharge planning, which was a transfer to Nemours. I would assume that, but I don't know.
Okay. And so then they knew that there was a attending physician treating the CRPS, to the best of your knowledge?
Sustained.
What, if anything, did you know about Dr. Hannah and his involvement?
Just that he was Maya was seeing him on an outpatient basis for treatment.
All right. And then was it discussed in front of you what that outpatient treatment was going to be?
No,
Was the treatment she was to receive at Nemours discussed in front of you?
no,
Did you read at the time any records that indicated what that would be?
no.
All right. Can you read for me the part in your record about the Nemours transfer? You have it?
I don't see it on the screen. I don't see my notes, sorry.
Okay. One moment.
I have a blank screen.
Okay, I'm working on it. I think it's under 1001-2031. Oh, hang on, don't show that one. No, I can't show that one. I'll withdraw on that line of questioning. So, did you ever get a chance to complete your psychosocial analysis?
No, or the risk assessment.
And why is that important here?
The form, Your Honor, assumes that there wasn't one done at some point.
Judge, that's a speaking objection, and that's not true.
Well, both sides, no speaking objections. Both sides. Gonna overrule the objection, she can answer.
I'm sorry, the question.
Why was the psychosocial evaluation, your evaluations, important? Are they required?
By the child abuse policy in the hospital, a risk assessment, a social worker or a social work consult is ordered to do a risk assessment if there's suspicion of child abuse, and then coordinates that suspicion after a risk assessment. They contact the child abuse, the state of Florida Child Abuse Registry to make a report.
In terms of the,
Hold on a second.
I'll wait for the next question.
Okay.
at the time, at the end of this, did you ever learn, leave aside the child abuse, did you ever learn what the doctors actually thought Maya had? Okay. And at the time you left, had you ever completed your psychosocial analysis towards any decision in that regard?
Ask and answer, Judge.
Sustained.
I'm looking to see if this is yours. All right, let's look at 1001-2030 at the bottom of the page there. Do you have that?
No, sir. May I have water?
All right.
Okay.
So let's look at the bottom of the page there. Okay. Let's look down there. And does it say that the patient was being seen by Dr. Hanna, a pain specialist in the outpatient setting. And that was your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. And you said, please refer to pain team and EC notes for, and what is HCT?
Healthcare team.
All right, discussion with Dr. Hanna. Do you know if there was a discussion with Dr. Hanna?
If I reference notes, I would assume there would have been a discussion with Dr. Hanna.
All right, and then it says HC team and mother came to a compromise for care regarding pain medication temporarily.
Temporarily.
Does it say that? And so were the parents willing to work with the hospital about a specific treatment?
Object to form, Judge calls for conclusion.
Overruled, she can answer.
I'm sorry, ask the question again.
Okay. It says there that HCT and the mother came to a compromise for care regarding pain medication temporarily.
Then that means that the mother, parent, and the team agreed to collaborated on the pain regimen at that time.
Okay. And it says mother told HCT, and that's who again?
Healthcare team.
All right. That patient would not cooperate with blood pressure monitoring unless she has additional pain medication, as patient had awakened and was thrashing about in the bed, right?
That's what I wrote.
And so the reason that Beata Kowalski, for the best of your knowledge, wanted the cuff to be held off was because the child was in pain and it would cause her more pain.
That's my understanding.
And so did that appear unreasonable to you?
Objection.
Sustained.
So then, did the father request a manual blood pressure cuff?
That's how my note reads, and I do remember a discussion about using a manual blood pressure cuff versus a digital.
All right. And then did the mother refuse psychiatric intervention because they don't help us?
Objection to the speculation regarding state of mind.
It's in the note.
Sustained.
Does it say mother also refused psychiatric intervention as, quote, they don't help us?
Am I allowed to answer that?
I think so.
Okay. So at the time, Mom did not want a psychiatric evaluation by this hospital's psychiatrist.
But at that time, can you tell the jury that the healthcare team, or at least you, knew the child had already received that type of care at the Eagles Wings?
Counseling and a psych evaluation are two different things.
Okay. But had they had some psychological counseling by that time, to the best of your knowledge?
They had been clients at Eagles Wing.
All right. And so, I gotta watch out for this. All right. And if you look at the end there, well, I can't ask about that. And were you directed? Can't ask that. Did any nurse or doctor ask you your opinion about this family?
Not that I recall.
And if they had asked you for your opinion at that time, would you have affirmed what you found here?
Objection, Your Honor. I don't understand the question.
Sustained.
To this point, had they indicated or shown you anything to indicate that they were engaged in any type of abuse of Maya?
Objection, Your Honor. Calling for a conclusion.
Sustained.
What, if any, symptoms did you see of? You didn't see any symptoms of child abuse, did you?
Same objection, Your Honor.
Symptoms.
Sustained.
Symptoms. I understand. All right. Did you complete a psychosocial form with the family?
It's an interview, so it's not. hopefully you remember all the questions.
Got it. Okay. And did it appear to you that, strike it, I want to ask some more, Judge, but I got to figure out how. One moment. Based on the rulings, no further questions.
Mr. Hunter, how long do you anticipate your cross to be?
Less than 10 minutes.
Then come on down. I know it's 12. I'm just concerned about everyone's lunch.
Sorry, I share your concern most profoundly. Good morning or afternoon, whichever that is.
Whichever.
We haven't met, have we?
No, sir.
You did have a chance to speak with Mr. Anderson or his team before you testified here today, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you flew down from New Hampshire to testify here today, correct?
Yes.
If I'm understanding correctly from your deposition, you had contact with this family for about a total of 2 hours in and out of the room. Is that right?
2 to 3. I'm not,
Okay. Well, if we put up the two notes you have, first 2030, we see that your last note was signed at 6:44 p.m., correct?
Yes, sir.
So that would be after your last interaction with the family.
Yes, sir.
And your first interaction was signed off, if we could put up 2032, it looks like you opened the note at 2:04 p.m., then signed it off at 2:23 p.m. Is that right?
I'm sorry. Please answer that.
I'm sorry, I'm back at 2032. It looks like you began the note at 2:04 p.m. That's 14:04, and that it was signed off at 14:23, which is 2:23 p.m. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And that would have been after your first encounter was complete, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, both these notes that you have accurately reflect your interaction with this patient, correct?
To the best of my knowledge, yes,
Okay.
sir.
As far as you know. Okay. And you never spoke with Dr. Hanna yourself,
No, sir.
but your notes indicate that the healthcare team did, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you saw, this was all the interaction you had with this case, is that right?
I was only covering for Friday, yes, sir.
Okay. You were covering for Friday.
Covering for Kathy Beatty that Friday, which was Hurricane Matthew, yes, sir.
Okay. That's why you were in the PICU at all.
That's the only reason. And on Monday morning, when I notified the case manager that Eagles Wings had called me back to confirm that Maya had been a client
Okay.
so that they could follow up.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said something, Judge.
Not say a word.
Okay. So you didn't talk to Eagles Wings until Monday, but at that point you didn't have any understanding of what exactly the services were that the family had obtained there, correct?
I called Friday
Right.
and they called me back Monday morning.
Okay. But the point is, you didn't have any understanding of what psychological services they had gotten at Eagles Wings,
I was
beyond
told,
the fact they'd been a patient there.
I don't understand your question, sorry.
Okay. Did you have any understanding from Eagles Wings what services the family had gotten there above and beyond the fact that that they were a patient there?
Counseling, that's my understanding.
Okay. And you didn't have any idea whether it was a psychologist or a social worker or who it was?
No, sir.
Okay. And you didn't know the extent of any evaluation they had gotten there?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you have any understanding of whether the patient, Maya Kowalski, had ever been seen at Tampa General Hospital?
So, no, sir. But again, in your previous question, could you ask your previous question again?
Did you have any idea what level of psychological person, counselor, was rendering service to the family at Eagles Wings?
I didn't get that information. When they called me back Monday, I was handing that information over to the case manager to follow up.
So by that point, you're off the case.
I'm off the case.
Okay. When you looked at, when you were in the room, your note indicates that, now I'm referring to 2030 now. Your note indicates that the patient had awoken and was yelling. Is that right?
That's my recollection.
Okay. And she was saying that she wanted her sedation.
That's what I heard. It's
And she was throwing things.
That's my recollection, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen in oncology patients feeling very, chemotherapy is very painful, and I've seen similar behaviors. So.
Okay. But she was agitated is the bottom line.
Yes.
Okay. And that was adding to some kind of confusion in the room, I'm gathering.
Yes.
Okay. And did you have any follow-up knowledge of efforts made to transfer this patient to Nemours?
From Friday, I was witnessing the conversation. I did not follow up that day what the decision was. Is that your question?
Yes, ma'am. You had no knowledge of what happened after that?
No, sir. That would be the case manager that would handle the transfer.
Okay. And on the day you were involved, you were aware that there was a call placed in Nemours, but that it was closed due to the hurricane.
Well, my understanding is that Nemours couldn't accept her that day because of the hurricane.
Okay.
The hospitals stay open.
Okay. But in any event, the hurricane was a problem that day.
That was a problem on the East Coast. Nemours is on the east, yeah.
So near Orlando.
The eastern side of Orlando.
Right. Okay. Briefly here. Now, you were aware that the team had spoken with Dr. Hanna, but you didn't know what Dr. Hanna's treatment had consisted of?
No, sir.
Okay.
That's a medical.
And if we want to refer to it later, once again, your notes and your social work notes here, or your writings and your social work notes are accurate as far as you know, correct?
To the best of my knowledge, yes, sir.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Any follow-up?
Just one. Of all of the people in the healthcare team, you were the one that was supposed to have the most input on determining whether or not there were some indications of abuse. True?
Objection. Calls for conclusions irrelevant.
Sustain.
No more questions.
Members of the jury, do any of you have any questions for this witness? Okay, just write it out, sir.
As they're going over this, we do have a cat on our desk, just FYI. So if you hear a bell or weird looking, it's not us. I I do wonder what angle he was trying to get at.
Yeah. But,
I get the feeling he was trying to get at she doesn't know anything, so just disregard her testimony. But because she was answering those questions honestly from the beginning, he couldn't get that because she'd already established that.
yeah. Although it's funny because they were speaking about CRPS from the start, and the hospital did nothing toward helping the CRPS, and then also claiming that they did not know that she had CRPS.
Yeah, and told her that she had fictitious disorder.
Yeah.
So it's not that they claim that they didn't know; they were actively telling her, "No, you're lying."
Yeah.
And it kind of just seems like from what we've learnt about Beata as her character, how she is or how she was, she would have been telling them exactly what it is.
Yeah. And also one thing you noticed quickly, that he sustained
The abuse questions.
abuse question, even though it was in the notes that they had shown,
Yeah.
the notes that are in evidence.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
It does to me. It doesn't make that much sense as to why the judge, unless he is being paid off, which is most likely the case.
Oh yeah, definitely the case.
Okay, members of the jury, I'm going to be able to ask some, but not all of the questions. The question is, who was the case manager at this time? I'm not exactly sure what this time is, but
Well, I was the case manager on the PICU when I was there Friday. It should have been Joyce, as I recall. Joyce Shear, I believe it's her name.
okay. And then the other question I'm not going to be able to ask. Okay. Plaintiffs, do you have any follow-up?
No, Your Honor.
And any follow-up from the jury? Okay. Let me. Members of the jury, I think your lunch is going to be a little bit longer today. Let's see, it's 12. Let's have you back here at 1:45 ready to go. I will try to finish everything by then, but
I'm just gonna
do the investigation.
a little.
May this witness be excused?
Probably not quite yet, Judge.
Okay, so
For
she's gonna
she's
come
gonna
back.
today or maybe in the future.
In the future.
So, Ms. Hansen, apparently you're going to be finished for today, but there's a chance that you might be asked to come back. Just need you not to talk about this case except for with the attorneys. Okay?
So am I allowed to go home to New Hampshire and then do I fly back, or do I have to stay here? And
I have no objection to that.
Sounds like the plaintiffs are okay with you going back to New Hampshire. And
Thank you.
if they want to bring you back, they'll contact you. I'm sorry?
We're okay with releasing.
Oh, thank you.
Have a good day, ma'am.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Releasing, that sounds harsh.
It's just a standard term, I think.
Uh,
Look at what was this? Look at him. What is he scared of her saying?
yeah.
And what do you So they said that they're gonna call her back. What do you think? Who do you think they'll call her back for? What witness or witnesses?
Maya and Sally Smith.
I think it's going to be Kathy Beattie.
Ah,
Because remember, she was cut. So that would explain why Kathy Beattie took over. She didn't take over. Deborah was covering on the Friday for Kathy. But that does not explain why Kathy was following Maya floor to floor, unless, which they weren't allowed to get into, which I don't understand why. If and the hospital's policies around suspected child abuse, like, is it the same social worker that follows the kid around the hospital, but that would then conflict with the other policy?
yeah.
But like, I mean, to me that would make sense, having one social worker, because then it will be consistent
Yeah.
for the patient. However, we don't know that.
No.
All we know at this point is, no, the social worker doesn't move floors. It stays on the floor, gets transferred to a different social worker.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I reckon they're saving her for Kathy Beattie because they know they've already done depositions. So I reckon there's stuff that Kathy Beattie's gonna lie on,
Yeah.
and they know she's gonna lie on it. She's gonna lie about it, or not answer certain questions truthfully, so to say. And they're probably gonna call her back for that.
Oh yeah.
And another thing that I know, she's so when she was on Cross, Mr. Hunter, hospital part of the hospital attorney team, he said you contacted this family, meaning they didn't reach out to her, she reached out to them. Now, was that before or after she left the hospital? Because if it was before, which I would assume it was, because why would she know about a lawsuit happening in a complete different in an area that she's no longer working in?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is just speculation. I reckon they were all talking about it in the hospital, and she realised what it was about, and that I was there. I knew this family.
Yeah.
Because she's like a neutral innocent, as far as I see, a neutral witness. She has no stake in the game. She has nothing to benefit from testifying. She's just saying the truth, and she's not. This is just what I get. She's not biased one way or the other.
No.
However, she might just be very good at masking her bias. Because if she contacted the family before she left the hospital, did they make it very difficult for her?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's look at it this way. We know of at least one person that they drove to committing suicide because of how they treated them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They destroyed it, at the very least one family. We know from the Netflix documentary, Sally Smith herself has destroyed dozens of families with false allegations.
Yeah.
So to me, it'd be like, okay, it's more likely that they've made her more resistant. Well, resistant to helping the hospital cover this bullshit up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the other thing that I find interesting is that there's no mention of the hospital requesting her to testify or anything like that.
No.
It's the simple fact that he said you contacted the family. That's getting me out. In my head, I'm like, why? And why would you remember something from 7 years ago unless what happened was so egregious to your moral compass that it seared into your brain?
Yeah.
Like, there's some things that might seem insignificant to some, but you'll remember because it fucks with your moral compass, or it relates to something else that's happened to you. that was somewhat upsetting.
She also could have protested at the hospital, and the hospital shut her down because they are
Quite
ruthless.
I think they would have asked that question.
Mm.
Because I mean, I don't know. To me, it's very strange.
Mm.
But it does make me wonder, like, is the hospital pissed off that she's contacted them? Because without her testifying, they wouldn't have been able to get any of those notes in.
No. No, I wouldn't.
It's interesting. What's your opinion? I've spoken enough now, so what's your opinion? Tell me. Talk to me.
I'm still going back to the question, why did she have to leave the hospital?
It could be simply that she found a better opportunity, but again, she moved there. She wanted to work at that hospital because it was closer to the beach. That's why she took the job.
That was her purpose. Like, why she started to work there.
However, it could have changed, but the fact that they didn't ask that question, I wonder if there was a motion in limine on the fact that they couldn't ask that question.
Yeah.
Which then leans towards, why did she leave the hospital?
Yeah.
Why did she contact the family regarding this? What happened at the hospital?
Yeah.
To make her leave it?
Yeah.
It's curious.
Yeah, it is.
It's suspicious and weird.
It's weird.
Did you think she was a good witness?
Yeah, but although sometimes she answered the questions without answering it.
I think...
But that could have been because of the question as well.
I think we're in agreement here, but I think she was a very good witness on the simple fact that she was able to help the family establish that the hospital was lying.
Yeah.
They lied in their opening statements.
Yeah.
They've lied.
Yeah.
So their credibility with the jury has been shat on by just this one witness.
Yeah.
By just her.
Yeah.
Forget everyone else. Just her. She's met without even. I mean, she wasn't even on the stand for that long.
No.
It was like without even going into or exposing anything major. It's just standard business practice. You know, keeping notes of what she did with the patient, her interactions, which she meant to do.
Yeah.
She's proven to the jury without even saying it. It didn't even need to be said. But she's proven to the jury that the hospital can't be trusted.
Yeah.
That they've lied. There's something fishy going on.
2 times in the notes, Dr. Hanna and CRPS was mentioned
Multiple times.
multiple times.
Yeah.
And
She only made, from what we're aware, she only made 2 notes.
yeah.
But she mentioned Dr. Hanna multiple times. CRPS was both notes mentioned Dr. Hanna, that the fact that he was a pain management specialist, and that Maya had CRPS or RSD.
Yeah. But the hospital said, no, we did not know anything.
Yeah. We weren't told. We weren't told this. So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
She just her, not even saying it, just having her there, because if they didn't have her there, those notes would not have been able to come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think she was good on that for evidence standpoint.
Yeah.
Just for the evidence. I mean, for me, the important questions on whether or not she observed any signs of abuse, because, you know, those important questions weren't answered or weren't able to be asked. And her testimony to me just is irrelevant. It's the evidence that come in.
Yeah.
That's the focal. That's the chef's kiss.
Yeah. Maya's lawyer he's pretty bad at asking the questions.
Yeah, I'm kind of just wondering if he's. It seems like what he's doing, and Johnny Depp's attorneys did the same thing. He's asking a question. So he's asking the question twice. So the first time he asks it, it's kind of like a hit and miss on whether or not the hospital will object. But it's essentially a signal for the witness. This is where I'm going with this next line of questioning.
Yeah.
Mentally get yourself there so you can answer what I'm going to ask. To get the answers that we want. And then the second question is the question that he most likely would have asked in the first place, but they possibly wouldn't have been able to answer. We don't know. But he's frustrating sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Because he asks questions how I ask questions. Like if I were to ask a question to a child. Like it's frustrating a little. It's not frustrating. It's a little bit irritating. But the more irritating part is the paper shuffling. But thank God we didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Except for the beginning of the entire fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's just oh my ears. Anything else to add, or should we keep going?
You could get going, I think.
Okay, right, well, hopefully we'll see you in the next one. If you have any comments or opinions about the case or anything else, you can put them in the comment section below if you want. You don't have to. Leave a like and subscribe, it helps out the channel. And yeah, stay hydrated. Wear sunscreen and don't eat yellow snow.
And Stegosaurus. Oh, Stegosaurus.
Please stop. You've been doing this for ages now.
Yeah, but the song keeps getting up. And don't trust seagulls. They work at Hopkins.
Yeah, they're Johns Hopkins spies.
Yes.
Alright, bye guys.
Bye-bye.